Late evening had settled over the outskirts of the city. An isolated warehouse stood beneath a dark, clouded sky, its rusted exterior barely visible beneath a flickering security light. But inside, the atmosphere was even darker. The warehouse echoed with the sounds of hurried footsteps, scraping cardboard, and the metallic clatter of machinery. Several of Prakash's men were loading unmarked boxes into a waiting truck. Every movement was quick and deliberate. Standing nearby, watching everything with a cold, calculating expression, was Arjun. He checked his watch and ordered sharply, "Finish everything before midnight. I don't want a single mistake." The loading continued until, creak, the enormous warehouse door suddenly groaned open, pouring bright light across the concrete floor. Everyone froze. The men stopped working, instinctively reaching for their weapons. A group of men entered the warehouse. At the front was Karthik. He walked in calmly, his eyes immediately scanning the truck and the surrounding boxes. He understood exactly what was happening. Arjun slowly turned toward him, a malicious smile appearing on his face. "Karthik," he said, almost amused, "what brings you here?" Karthik ignored the question. His gaze remained fixed on the illegal cargo before looking directly at Arjun. "I'm here to stop this." Arjun's smile vanished. "You can't stop me." Taking another step forward, Karthik replied, "I just did." The warehouse fell completely silent. Arjun stared at him for several seconds before closing the distance. "This is Prakash's business," he threatened. "You have no idea what you're getting yourself into. Walk away while you still can." Karthik didn't move an inch. His voice hardened. "I don't care if it's Prakash's business or yours. This ends tonight." Arjun's jaw tightened. "Then you're making a very big mistake." Without warning, Arjun lunged. Karthik reacted instantly as their fists collided. The confrontation exploded across the warehouse. Karthik landed the first clean punch, sending Arjun staggering backward. But Arjun recovered quickly and charged again. The two exchanged brutal blows, reaving between stacks of boxes while their men watched tensely. Slowly, Karthik gained the advantage. He struck Arjun again, forcing him hard against a wooden crate. Arjun wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, his expression changing as he looked down. A heavy metal rod lay beside him. Without hesitation, he grabbed it. Karthik's eyes widened. Arjun swung, but Karthik stepped aside just in time. The rod slammed against the concrete floor with a deafening clang. Arjun swung again. This time, Karthik couldn't move quickly enough. With a sickening thud, the metal rod struck his side. Karthik gasped, the impact knocking the breath entirely from his lungs. He stumbled backward, clutching his injured side as his knees nearly gave way. "You should have stayed out of this," Arjun spat, advancing and raising the rod again. Karthik forced himself upright. With the last of his strength, he knocked the weapon from Arjun's hand and landed another blow. But the injury had already taken its toll. His movements slowed. Seeing the weakness, Arjun attacked again. A final devastating blow sent Karthik crashing onto the cold concrete. Silence returned to the warehouse. Karthik lay motionless, struggling to breathe, as Arjun stood over him with icy contempt. "You should have stayed out of my way," he said, before turning to his men. "Let's go." Within moments, the truck engine roared to life. It disappeared into the darkness, carrying the illegal cargo with it, as the heavy warehouse door slowly closed. Karthik remained alone on the floor, wounded and defeated, but still conscious. His eyes slowly opened. The fight was over, but the war had only begun. A few minutes later, on a nearby desolate stretch of road, a faint light approached from the distance. Shruthi was riding home on her scooty, a routine trip she made every evening after closing her small coffee shop. The darkness made the drive peaceful, until something near the roadside caught her attention. She slowed down, trying to make out the shape lying on the ground. Panic rose in her throat as she realized it was a man. She immediately stopped her scooty and rushed to him, removing her helmet as she ran. "Oh, God!" she cried out, her voice breaking the silent night. It was Karthik. He was conscious, but badly injured from the fight at the warehouse. Shruthi knelt beside him, frantic. Hey, can you hear me? Karthik slowly opened his eyes, blinking to clear his vision. When he looked up at the worried face above him, he recognized her. It was the same Shruthi who always served him at the coffee shop. You? Karthik rasped out, his voice weak. Shruthi was equally stunned. Wait, you're the same Karthik? He tried to ignore the pain and push himself off the ground. She quickly placed a firm hand on his shoulder. Don't move. You're the same stubborn Karthik too, apparently. He stopped his attempt to rise, groaning in agony as his body refused to cooperate. She quickly checked his side. You're bleeding. Stubborn to the last, Karthik tried to dismiss her concern. I'll manage. Shruthi gave him an incredulous look. Seriously? You're lying on the side of the road and telling me you'll manage? She wasn't asking, she was telling. She got up and grabbed the small first aid pouch she always carried in her scooty. Despite his protests, she gently began to clean his wound and wrap a bandage around it. He watched her quietly, perhaps surprised to find such capable, no-nonsense kindness in a stranger. You carry first aid? He asked, his tone quieter now. Yes, she replied, focused on the bandage. Now don't talk. It's just a coffee shop owner carrying a first aid kit. Don't make it a discussion. She noticed his phone lying beside him. She picked it up. I need to call your people. He signaled Ravi's contact. Karthik unlocked his phone and Shruthi made the call. A man's voice answered, instantly alert. Hello? Ravi answered, sounding suspicious of the unfamiliar number. Are you Karthik's man? Shruthi asked. Ravi immediately became defensive. Yes. Who are you? I found Karthik injured on the roadside, Shruthi explained, ignoring his suspicion. Come here immediately. She quickly gave him the location, and Ravi promised they were coming. Shruthi ended the call, but she wasn't done. She immediately began dialing for an ambulance. Karthik, watching her, tried to intervene again. Why did you call an ambulance? Because you're injured, she said, as if explaining something obvious to a child. I don't need one, he insisted, though his voice lacked conviction. Shruthi stopped dialing and gave him an utterly annoyed look. She raised an eyebrow. Then get up and walk. He tried. He really tried to put up a brave front. But as soon as he moved, he gasped in blinding pain, wincing as his body gave out. She smirked just slightly, her victory complete. Exactly. Karthik looked away, defeated by the reality of his injuries. A faint, knowing smile appeared on Shruthi's face. Now stay quiet until the ambulance comes. Within minutes, the empty road was flooded with headlights as several cars arrived. Karthik's men rushed toward their leader. Ravi was the first to arrive. Boss! They helped him carefully onto a stretcher that the paramedics had prepared. Ravi, knowing the gravity of what could have happened, looked at Shruthi. Thank you for helping him. We would have lost him tonight. Shruthi shook her head, dismissing the thanks. He was injured. Anyone would have helped. The paramedics began loading Karthik into the ambulance. He looked weak, but before getting inside, he looked back over his shoulder at the woman on the scooty. His usual cold expression was replaced by something else. Gratitude, perhaps. Thank you, he said. She simply nodded. Take care. The ambulance drove away, the sirens fading into the distance. The isolated road was quiet once again. Shruthi put on her helmet, started her scooty, and continued her ride home. She had no idea that rescuing Karthik that night, out in the middle of nowhere, would set off a chain of events that would completely change both their lives forever.